Welcome to the Music Plays the Band podcast. We're going to be sitting down with musicians, artists, band members, friends and family to talk about what drives them to create great music. Asking more than just the typical questions, who's inspired you or what music do you like, we're going to ask the why behind what motivates them to create great music. People join in while the music plays the band.
Sing it with me if you know. Sing, why don't we just find some place to go? One more time, Mom. Sing, why don't we just find some place to go? Yeah, I'm singing, sing, it's on my mind now, baby. It's on my skin.
So I'm here with Zach Deputy, and he just got done with his set at Front Porch Fest.
Yeah.
And so when somebody's coming to a Zach Deputy show, what are they getting?
They're getting soul, dance party, love, light, and Latin funk. I don't know what to call what I do.
And how, as a one-man band, how are you delivering that?
I don't know. I'm making all the ingredients in the soup. I feel like I'm a sous chef, like I'm cooking everybody the jams, but I cook it in front of them with style and I show them how I prepare it. Okay. And then after I prepare it, I serve it up. And when I serve it up, that's when I start singing and I start the song. Before that, I'm artfully showing them how I prepare it.
Okay.
Which I really like because people who aren't musicians, they get to see all the ingredients or elements that make grooves or make songs.
Okay.
And I feel like it's kind of like a music lesson as well as a music performance.
Okay.
You know?
So I saw you've got the foot pedals down on the floor. Those are for recording and looping and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Explain a little bit about like that whole process.
Well, the way I have mine set up is my first loop makes the beat map in time. So when I hit it, it starts, and when I hit it again, it loops. So, and once I set that, then everything is a slave to that loop. It's going to be in that time frame.
Yeah.
But you know, you just start off with a beat or something, and then when you loop that, you come back and you put stuff on top of it, and keep going until it sounds like there's 20 people playing.
Right.
You know, it's easier to do it than explain it, I think. You know, but it's just, for me, it's always been awesome because I could take the sounds I have in my head and I could communicate it to people.
Okay.
And it was actually easier for me to do that than play with a band because I heard music in a different way than other people.
Well, so tell us a little bit about like the evolution of how you got to where you are today.
Well, the first time I looped, I want to say I was 17, 18. And actually, it's funny, Brock was here. I had a DL, I think a DL6, line 6, or DL4. I think it's called a DL4. Line 6 delay pedal.
Okay.
I didn't know how to loop function on it, but I had the pedal, and then I saw Brock from P Groove playing and then looping with it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I got these solo gigs, and I used to just sing and play. But I had that delay pedal, and I was like, oh, I'll try this. And I remember I tried it one night, and I didn't think it was that good.
Yeah.
but the audience's response was electric.
Really?
And I said to myself, imagine if this was good. And that's what sparked like my whole thing.
Yeah.
And before I started doing that, I was making beats. And before I looped in that, I guess the first time I really looped wasn't a loop machine. You remember those old cassette karaoke machines that had two sides, a play side and a record side, so you could record yourself singing? Well, before I even knew the word loop, I used to have that, and I would put it in the record side and get a mic and beatbox for like 3 minutes. And then I would take that, put that in the play side, and I would take my Casio keyboard, because I didn't have a bass back then, and I would play the bass on the Casio keyboard, and then I put that in the play side and put another tape in the record side, and then I record guitar, and then I'd sing over it. I had like boxes and boxes of, back then, what I called albums. This is way before I knew what looping was.
Yeah.
And so when I actually had a pedal that looped, I feel like I already had 10,000 hours into looping. And so it's kind of weird for me. Like, I did all these things that, like, if you wanted to be a professional looper, you should do, but I had no clue that I was going to be a professional looper.
Right.
Like, it just like fate had me doing these weird things.
A lot of experimentation.
A lot of experimentation, making beats, and I was there right at the beginning of Music Maker and Fruity Loops and Acid Pro, and I was making beats like nonstop. And then when I could actually make it on a looper, I was well versed in the math of what it was and what was going on. And my brother was a drummer, and he made fun of my swing and like everything so much that made me like hyper critical of myself. And that hyper criticism led to just making the groove tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. But yeah, I've been doing it since I've been like 14.
Okay. And so then you've got a guitar that you use.
Yeah.
And that is, what's special about the guitar? Anything?
Well, it has a normal line out like a normal guitar, but then it has a 13-pin line out, which allows for 6 ins and 6 outs, and I think 1 ground. I think that's why it's 13-pin. And that way each string can be read as an individual signal, which I feed to 2 different synthesizers. And so I can make it be like a keyboard. If I want to make it sound like a sax or an organ or weird synth sounds or anything like that, I can do that. And it's pretty cool. I use it a lot for the sax. I like playing sax.
Is it a nylon string guitar?
It's a nylon string guitar.
Okay. What's the benefit of that?
I just like the play style of a nylon. I started out as a finger picker. And I'm still a dominant finger picker. I do rhythm and lead with a pick as well, but I do rhythm and lead with my fingers. Unlike most guitarists who only do rhythm sometimes or finger picking with their fingers, I do leads and pocket and funk with my fingers. And so I think that's one of the things that sets me apart from other guitarists is I play very percussively, drum-like with my fingers. And so nylon keeps my fingers from ripping off.
Yeah, sure.
Because I could still do all the same tricks on a steel string, but it just beats the crap out of me, And eventually my fingers start bleeding.
So how old were you when you first started, like even maybe before looping, but first started like getting into music and realizing that you had some music talent?
I didn't realize I had music talent until I was like 16, 17. But as far as like doing music, I started singing from when I could remember. And it was like my secret obsession. Like anytime I was by myself, I was singing. Anytime I did anything. Like I saw my dad as his happiest when he was just like humming and doodling and slapping on the dashboard when he was driving. And I don't know if I picked it up then, but whenever I was by myself, you know, when you're a kid, you just imitate. And so whenever I was by myself, I was just singing my butt off. And I worked construction and painted a lot of houses. And whenever I did that, I sung like crazy. And then I delivered paint for a living for a while. And every time I got in the car, I sung like crazy, top of my lungs. And I didn't do it around people, but then like my really close like group of friends who knew that I sang and stuff, they started pressuring me to sing in front of people. My family started pressuring me to sing in front of people. and my uncle got me a gig and forced me on stage.
Yeah.
And my mom helped me get on stage a couple times. And I got on stage at this talent show on a cruise boat. And it was the first time I sang and played guitar in front of anybody. And I got a standing ovation.
Wow.
And that like really gave me a lot of confidence that maybe I did have something. And I don't know if it was just because I was so young or I had talent or a good combination of both.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I had a standing ovation, and like I knew they were feeling what I was putting down.
Okay.
And so that gave me a lot of confidence. And after that, I did start singing and playing in front of people. Before that, I was playing because I won some awards in high school for like outstanding jazz soloist in the state and stuff like that. And I played in jazz band, and that competition led to some guys seeing me and asking me to be in these like wedding bands and this Motown band. And so I played backup in a Motown band. Also this little white kid in this Motown band just backing these guys up, and they were crushing it. And that was a good learning experience. And touring with the suit, being really young, but that was before I sang in front of anybody.
Okay.
And then when I really got good reactions singing in front of people, that's what really opened me up to like, okay, I want to perform for people a lot, you know? Like, because for myself, the only reason I ever got the guitar was so I could sing more.
Okay.
So I never really got the guitar as like, oh, I want to be like the best at guitar. I just wanted to be able to have some accompaniment.
Yeah, so it was kind of an excuse to sing to people, and you had that.
Yeah, or to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I really was shy. I was super
Okay.
shy when I was young.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of got like pushed into it.
Right.
And after I was pushed into it so much, then I started being okay with it. And then it just became my thing.
Yeah.
But all my first gigs, my uncle like got me without me asking him.
Right.
And so, you know, if it wasn't for my mom, my uncle kicking me out the door, who knows if I ever would have done it.
That's crazy, man. That's great. So, yeah, because one thing I like to ask artists is like, is there an event or person that's connected with like your progression into music? But you're saying it's like getting that standing ovation and then your uncle pushing you out.
Yeah,
So,
it's moments.
Yeah.
Like you have all these moments of like validation, like, oh, okay, I'm on the right path.
Right.
And there's so many of them in my life that I look back to, and I was like, that was a pivotal moment. That was a huge moment for me to like keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Like I remember the moment where I felt like I was on the path to being an artist. So when a really beautiful lady came up to me and she asked me to play Brown Eyed Girl, and I knew Brown Eyed Girl, and I said no. And that was a big moment for me, like, as I'm gonna be an artist, I'm not gonna be a puppet, I'm gonna do what I love. And hopefully people like it. And so that was a turning point of actually becoming an artist. And then I remember Writer's Lounge in Hilton Head was the place that I actually became an artist. I finally discovered some semblance of my own sound.
Yeah.
And so I remember the day that I decided I'm gonna become an artist and not be somebody else, I'm gonna be me.
Yeah.
And then I remember the day that I felt like I had become an artist. And then I remember the day that I felt like I could be a touring musician. And that was at Wormtown in Massachusetts. It was the first time I played a show away from home, and I felt like everybody got me. They understood what I was putting out, and that gave me a lot of confidence.
Okay.
Before that, like, I was confident playing at home, but I was really not elsewhere.
Okay.
And that kind of like gave me confidence elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line of playing so many shows, I got to the point where I was confident everywhere, anywhere, all the time.
Right.
And it's just, that was a slow process.
Which that almost is the opposite of, like, you say you're an introvert or shy, like you just kind of overcome
I don't
that,
think
so-
introvert means shy.
Right.
I like the way I define introvert or extrovert is an introvert is a person who doesn't need people to build energy.
Okay.
They actually build energy within themselves.
Right.
An extrovert is a person who needs people to give them energy and to hype them up.
Yeah.
And an introvert, if they're around people all the time, they eventually get drained.
Yeah.
And an extrovert, if they're by themselves too long, they get drained. So it's not like a thing I'm shy or I'm afraid to open up or anything like that. Is why I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert because I charge my batteries being alone. And that's the way I see those two balances. And I love people, and actually being by myself and you know, working things out with my conscience and myself, and that makes me like way better to be with people.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But if I'm just around people all the time, 24/7, I totally get worn out.
Right.
And I lose self, and self is where my energy comes from.
Yeah. So you got projects you're working on right now you want to talk about, or what is what
I
are you
got
looking to in the future?
Got a really awesome album that's pretty much done, and I'm finding a home right now for it with a really awesome label.
Okay.
And we're going to be releasing that soon, and it's with my band. But I mean, the album's just a self-titled Zach Deputy album, but I got a new band, Zach Deputy and the Yankees.
Okay.
We actually start touring next week.
Oh, great.
We're doing a couple weeks, then I'm going back and doing like a month of looping, and then going back and do another week of band tour.
Okay.
So that's really excited doing the band thing. But the album's really cool. I would say it's like soul meets country. It's kind of like a Creedence Clearwater Revival meets Taj Mahal meets I don't know. It's really cool. It's like an Americana, just like you could tell it's a modern record,
right?
But it has the vibe of like a 70s album. Like as far as the way we did it, we did no click tracks. It was a real band playing real songs, and the original takes with the whole band is what we used for the backing tracks of the songs.
Okay.
And so we didn't beat it in. We made sure we got a good take.
Right.
And the way I did it, if we didn't get it in 4 takes, I went to another song. And so I ran my sessions in a completely different way, where nothing really got stale, and the song's able to breathe because it's not on a click track and forced to be in this tempo. It's allowed to move a little bit.
Right.
So it has there's just this magic vibe to it.
Cool, man.
Very excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put a link up to your website, you know, when this goes up online, so people can follow you there.
That'd be awesome.
Find out more about it.
Yeah.
But,
cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
I could ask you a lot more questions because your music's super interesting, but I think it's like 2:45 a.m. And,
it's bright and early.
We'll call it a day.
Getting close to
appreciate
bedtime.
It, Thanks.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Good hanging with you guys.
Let me.
Hey, thank you for listening. I'm super excited to share these interviews with you, and I'd really appreciate you subscribing and leaving me a review, 5 stars preferably, but I'll take any feedback you've got. And stay tuned, we've got lots more exciting interviews coming your way.